Hello, everyone. Today, I am really very honored and pleased to have with us a man who is a serial entrepreneur. I haven't had many of those, so it's very much a pleasure to have a serial entrepreneur. Today, we have with us Jagjit Kochar. Let's listen to him. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, so uh, I'm just thinking where should I start my life from? But I think the most pleasurable period of my life is now because what I'm doing now is something which nobody in the world has ever done. And every day we have a new learning involved in it and so much of excitement. I never felt this excitement ever in my life. So I'm basically from the commerce background, but the universe gave me this opportunity to work out something to solve a major environmental problem, and we had to find a solution. And that is where uh, you see, if we see the history, recent history, in 2018, the whole issue of climate change became on the forefront. We all were talking about it and its impact on various elements of environment were being debated, and a lot of things were happening around that. And it is during this phase that our honorable Prime Minister he gave a clarion call that the next problem which we must focus on is the water, and that I really picked it up, and we started doing research on. I basic premise of all my research ever in life. So in my entrepreneurial journey, um, I have always focused on research oriented projects where we have to do some innovations, something new to do. And in all the projects, my approach has been to find out uh, what the world has done. So I want to leapfrog instead of really trying to innovate same thing which already exists here. So there's no re-engineering issues. You always want to take the existing technology forward, has been my approach. So similarly, when this whole problem came in of the water, and for the first time I started knowing about water in 2018. So, and then, as I said earlier, that my whole approach has been to figure out what the world has done on this. I mean, this problem is not unique to us in India. This is a global problem, and that is where we could identify nanobubbles, um, O2, O3 nanobubbles, oxygen, ozone nanobubbles, and nanobubbles filled with various other gases, like it can be pure air, it can be CO2, depending upon what we are trying to treat. So, so we could know that there is an emerging technology which is called nanobubbles, and it has huge potential for water and wastewater treatment. So, and during this research, only two things happened. We found that the Japanese, Korean, and Americans, these were the three countries who had done some extensive work on this. And in India, uh, I connected with all the top research organizations, including all IITs, and we figured out that nobody had done any work ever on nanobubbles. So with that kind of a clean slate, with no the science support from the local, any experience from the ground, um, I myself with Dr. Kishore Paknikar, he is one of the top scientists on the nanoscience, nanoparticles, basically. He was the member of the core team of Professor Abdul J. Kalam when the Pokhran happened, nuclear.
Hmm.
And so he's that senior a scientist. He retired as the director of Agarkar Research Institute. He went
Hmm.
with us to Korea.
Hmm.
And he had also not heard about nanobubbles. So we all were absolutely clean
Hmm.
when we went there. The government of Korea really supported us. They introduced us to the five nanobubble generator manufacturers, and we met everyone in their quest to sell their technology. They really shared a lot of information, and finally we signed up with Dr. Yu. He is the promoter of Newman Tech in Korea, and we brought the first set of nanobubble generators, the cold technology from there,
Hmm.
and we assembled. You see, Korean had developed this technology for mostly for the hydroponics
Hmm.
irrigation.
Yeah.
So we brought it here. Our focus was absolutely on the sewage and water bodies
Yeah.
revival.
Yeah.
Um, and why this focus came about? Before going, we had already done our research that in India we have only say 20% of the total sewage that we generate is being effectively treated. The total capacity is around 35, 36%, out of which maybe less than 20% is the compliant. So there was a huge gap of how much of sewage we are generating and how much is being treated. And to compound the whole situation in 2018-19, because of this whole global initiative, every country started aligning the new treated water discharge norms. Earlier, the plants were allowed to discharge with 50 ppm of BOD.
Hmm.
Then it came down to 30, then it came down to 20 ppm of BOD, and then
Hmm.
it came down to 10 ppm of BOD,
Hmm.
and then it came down. Now we are talking about 5 ppm of BOD
Hmm.
to be discharged from the existing plants.
Yeah.
So, which means all that investment that we had done till 2018, they were never designed to deliver what was
Hmm.
being mandated now.
Yeah.
And and to change those norms so rapidly,
Hmm.
it became that means it was a huge problem where we needed something modular, something which can be implemented faster. And as you all know that we have given 2030 as our commitment under the SDGs. So now this was the backdrop in which
Yeah.
we identified this technology, and we developed one prototype machine, and we started with the pond initially. Now, again, I say at this stage, we had no knowledge what nanobubbles are, and what to expect. So, in a pond of 3.5 acre, where the DO level was approximately 3.5 to 4 ppm, that pond, it was a fish farm, and this pond was not clean for 7.5 years.
Right.
So there was so too much of accumulation of the TSS and other things. So in 3.5 days of our operations, we could raise the DO to around 12 ppm in
Hmm.
that the reservoir, and the water became absolutely clean, and the fish were very, very happy there.
Hmm.
And then started our monitoring that how long it sustains, this
Yeah.
whole DO level sustains.
Yeah.
And for next 6 months, our monitoring says the DO level was still maintaining above 10.
Yeah.
That was our first learning that these bubbles are the stable in nature. But still, we had very zero knowledge about the, the exact science of nanobubbles. Then, for the first time, we got the opportunity to treat the sewage at Pusa Institute, IARI in Delhi. And there, there is a water technology center. They had developed some bioremediation based STP. And in that STP, in the finishing tank, They were getting around 80 to 100 ppm of BOD. And there we installed our machine only for 10 days. And in 10 days, that 180 to 100 ppm, it became less than 20 ppm. We withdrew our machine from there within 10 days. And then we monitored it for next 2 months. And the nanobubbles were still treating and keeping it around 20, 25, that much without our machine being there. So that was another key learning about the stability. Still, we had no knowledge about nanobubbles. And then Punjab government gave me a few projects, starting with the one WSP, where now, since earlier we had done the first test that we did was with the finishing tank of a WSP. WSP means waste settlement pond. They create 5 ponds in serial, and the overflows, through overflows and natural process, the treatment is done naturally, and there is a 21 days total retention period there. So this time, the I was told to treat the first pond out of those 5 ponds, and we installed our machine for a month, and we could bring down from around 300 ppm of BOD to again around 20 25 ppm within 1 month of operation. Again, we monitor for next 2 months, and the nanobubbles were treating without our machine being there. So these were starting of our understanding of nanobubbles. Here I must explain you the nanobubbles per se. In a layman's language, the nanobubble is the size where if we divide the thickness of our hair by 80,000, we reach the nano size, is a simple way to explain. So those tiny bubbles are not visible. You have to see with a laser beam to find out whether the bubbles are there or not. So, and then we tied up with IIT Ropar, and there was one professor, for my good fortune, Dr. Nirmalkar is there, Neelkant Nirmalkar. He was working on nanobubbles at lab scale for the last 3 years, and then when he came to know that we have already developed a machine, so it was something of a great excitement for him, because he thought ultimately he'll come up with a machine himself. So we had a brief engagement with Dr. Nirmalkar, but he being an academician, um, he was more focused on the core research than doing the projects, and we were not really interested in the lab level exercise, because we thought we don't have time, and we wanted to go along with various projects. So then, in a series, when the government of Punjab started looking at the results, then from 1 MLD to 3 MLD to 8 MLD, and then I treated a drain.
Yeah.
And this process of continuously treating and getting results, my engagement with the government was such that I will give you my machine and men, but you will have to take one sample every day
Yeah.
to give me the results. So that data profiling that we did, it gave us a lot of knowledge, and we could develop a model of how does it work.
Yeah.
But still, our knowledge was not that profound.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is an organization in Hyderabad
Yeah.
which is called ICRISAT,
Yes.
and
Very famous.
it's a United Nations
Yes.
organization. They have got
Yes.
a headquarter there.
Yeah.
So they have the whole head office is in a compound of 2,500 acres
Yes.
in the heart of the Hyderabad city, and they had a few lakes there. And that is where I think my first understanding of nanobubbles started happening. So it was a 25-acre lake. It was receiving around 1.25 MLD
Yeah.
of sewage from a nearby settlement.
Yeah.
So the historical COD level of
Yeah.
that lake
Yeah.
was around 80 to 90 ppm.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then we installed our machine. My machine was 10 metric cube per hour capacity,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the smallest one we had. So we installed it there, and in a month's time, we could bring down the COD of that river, that lake, to um, 25 ppm.
Mm-hmm.
25 ppm. So, and we suddenly realized if a 10 metric cube machine can handle 25 acres of lake where the 1.25 mld of sewage is coming in any case.
Yeah.
So, and then since ICRISAT is a research organization,
Yeah.
they really looked at the other aspects of its impact on the ammonia, nitrate, and other things. So, but the real learning which I got from there, the overflow of this lake was going into another lake, which is called Sunset Lake. This lake was Bird's Lake, and the other one
Yeah.
was Sunset Lake. It was 3 kilometers away from there.
Yeah.
This overflow was going there, and that lake this lake also got the DO level of 8 ppm, and that is one fact that we found in that exercise was in that project was that even the DO level of borewell, the
Yeah.
groundwater,
Yeah.
it went up to 6 ppm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, which means the nanobubbles were spreading everywhere, and they
Right.
spread like fire.
Yeah.
And then this whole spread is not only in horizontally, it's going into vertically into the groundwaters. And for the first time, I was really scared of this whole new dimension. We didn't know how far it is good or bad, kind of a thing, but we could understand that we have something phenomenon in our hand.
Yeah.
Remember, I
Yes.
always said I'm a commerce student.
Yeah.
So, so we were getting all these results, and that ultimately led us to have a tie-up, a joint venture with Dr. Rakesh Govind. He is the HOD of Chemical Engineering Department, Cincinnati University, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so when he came on scene, one thing which I was lacking everywhere, that I was talking about something which was beyond science.
Yes.
You see, use of oxygen and ozone for wastewater treatment is a pretty old technology. But using ozone or oxygen in a nanobubble form
Yeah.
is a completely new dimension.
Yes.
So when I told these when I shared the result with the top the experts of India, sitting in all the top expert committees which are there with the various ministries, they thought I'm weaving a story. This is not possible
Yeah.
because actually it was so difficult for me when I said, look, man, when I withdrew my machine, it was still treating for 2 months.
Right.
It sustained for so much of years. So that was beyond science. And
Correct.
actually, this nanobubble is beyond science.
Yeah.
And that is what is keeping us at the cutting edge all the time. We are learning every day.
Yeah.
So now so ultimately, with the help of Dr. Rakesh Govind, what happened is he could scientifically explain why these results are coming. And since he was also working on nanobubbles technology, but he was on a different domain, he developed some of the decentralized, nowadays it's a big buzzword that the whole era of centralized sewage treatment plant
Yeah.
are no more relevant, and everybody is talking about decentralized. And that's a domain where Dr. Saab has done some work, and he has got 200 of his units which are called package STPs for home, small communities,
I see.
everything. So, but
Yeah.
we both were on nanobubble domain.
Yes.
So, with Dr. Rakesh Govind joining in, and we both sharing our knowledge. Um, Now, when I make a presentation, the technical part is handled by Dr. Rakesh Govind,
Right.
and I talk about commercial.
Right.
Having reached this level, and now I'm taking you through my entrepreneurial journey so far as nanoballs are concerned.
Right.
I've just given you a glimpse of the technical part of it.
Right.
The real story started that um, now we started going to the government
Yes.
and telling them there is a department called the NMCG, National Mission for Clean Ganga.
Yes.
And you see, the dimensions which you are talking about,
Yes.
if you see the traditional sewage treatment plants,
Yes.
whether it is MBBR, SBR,
Uh,
ASP, and you talk of any other technology, what are they doing right now? They take the sludge out, and then they don't know what to do with the sludge.
Correct.
Because and then they're putting it in some pit, and then when the rains come, it
It comes out.
contaminates groundwater.
Right.
Okay. So this is not a treatment.
No.
And then what they do, the water which is there, they give some kind of an aeration to it
Right.
to give some oxygen so that the BOD, COD level can be brought down.
Yeah.
And then they pass it through the chlorination.
Yes.
Now, whenever you pass anything through a process of chlorination,
Yeah.
you are actually killing the residual DO in it.
Yeah.
Okay. So when the on the input side, when in a centralized this sewage system, when you are taking the sewage underground, it's an enclosed environment. Actually, you are creating more COD, BOD because there is no air available to the sewage flowing there.
Right.
And so you when you bring it, the already the DO level is almost zero when
Yeah.
the raw sewage comes.
Yeah.
And whatever no, aeration you have done to bring down BOD, COD,
Yeah.
you kill that when you are passing it through the chlorination for disinfection.
Correct.
So what is happening? We call it sewage treatment plant. But where is the treatment? The water being discharged from
Yeah.
the sewage treatment plants, any technology,
Yeah.
ultimately has 0 or to 1 ppm of DO.
Yeah.
That water, if you release to the agriculture, the one of the core function of water is to carry oxygen to the roots of the plant.
Right.
Okay, so if the roots of the plant are getting water which has 0 to 1 ppm of
Oxygen.
DO, if we go back in history, all our agriculture was organic because we were using river water.
Yes.
Okay, and that river water always had 6 to 8 ppm of DO.
Yeah.
So this this water which they call is the treated water from sewage treatment plant, or anybody claims it, ultimately is a environmental hazard
Yeah.
because if it goes to the agriculture, it will kill the agriculture,
Yes.
and then even if it goes to river,
Yeah.
it will
Kill
drag the
the
DO
river.
level of river.
Yes.
So where is the treatment?
No treatment. I agree.
So so in place of that, what our nanobubbles do, which we now understand, that when nanobubbles go into the water, so the whole process is our machine, we take, there is a pump there. So for an example, my one of my machine is now running in Bharuch. We are treating 60 mgd
Wow.
um, reservoir.
Yeah.
So this reservoir is basically drawing water from Narmada,
Yes.
and then this is supplied to the industry.
Yes.
Over a period, there was too much of the algae growth, and then
Yeah.
dead algae created vegetation, and there
Yeah.
was huge problem. So it became a sticky water, not usable for the industry, and
No.
that's where we came in. With our only one machine, we are treating it's a 60 metric cube per hour capacity machine.
Yeah.
We are treating 60 mgd. That is the potential of nanobubbles. So So what nanobubbles do with that 60 metric cube machine has only 10 HP pump.
Yeah.
The major cost of any sewage treatment plant is power.
Yes.
Here we are using only 10 HP pump to treat 60 mgd.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's
Okay.
something. Yeah.
So, and then when we use ozone, there is no need of chlorination.
No upset. Yeah.
Okay. So what it does is we take the water inside our machine through a pump. Then we add ozone or oxygen, depending upon what we are treating and what the process we have finalized for it. There is a ozone and oxygen generator inbuilt in the machine.
Right.
So we purge this oxygen or ozone, and then this ozonated or oxygenated water passes through the nanobubble generator.
Yes.
Now, this nanobubble generator is a static, there is no moving part in it.
Right.
Okay, when it passes through it, then it generates nanobubbles and release trillions of nanobubble every minute
Right.
from there. So imagine 60 metric cube per hour is flowing out of my machine. It
Mm.
has nanobubbles. So the amount of nanobubble we are talking about is pretty large. So when they go into the water, when they burst, they the nanobubbles create that energy, and they energize the water. Then they release the ozone or oxygen filled in it, and then they uh, generate OH radicals. The real trick is the the hydroxyls generation happens
Mm.
when they burst.
Yes.
These hydroxyls are much more. Uh, this is it engineers AOP, advanced oxidation process, and the sludge gets converted into gas. It comes out of the water, so you don't need to take the sludge out, and then the water which is released, because ozone gets converted into oxygen
Yeah.
within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So the water which you get, it comes out has minimum 4 to 5 ppm of water,
Mm.
which is good for agriculture, which is good for the river.
Yeah.
That's another dimension of the whole thing. That's a technical part of it. But that's where the problem is. Now, you were talking about the opportunities. There are huge, there's so much to do. But the problem is our systems are so casted. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the way tendering happens
Yes.
and the way government is more inclined towards creating large assets.
Yes.
So the whole monolithic buildings and those big plants,
Mm.
they think that is an asset. Whether
Yes.
they're doing its job or not is a different issue.
Yeah.
And many times they create these assets and they have no money to run it.
Right.
That's also reality. So the government is spending around 40,000 rupees per MLD
Yeah.
for it's a life cycle cost
Yes.
of the sewage treatment.
Yeah.
Whereas in our case, it comes down to 4,000 rupees per MLD.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So
And
it's a cutting edge technology
yeah.
at the most cost effective, and it's a modular machine
Yeah.
which can be installed in a day. I mean,
Yeah.
once I release my machine from here, it takes 2 days to install, and third day it is operating
Yeah.
and start doing the trick. So, and in this, the flexibility is in the existing plants, if the electricity goes off for an hour or 2 hour, the whole sewage will
Correct.
again go untreated. In
Yeah.
our case, even if the electricity is not there for 5 days,
Yeah.
the nanobubbles will keep on treating it.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay. So, yeah, these are the advantages, but I think it has taken me 3 years to understand this economic viability of it. And now, slowly, governments are also accepting it. And I believe very soon we will get a breakthrough of serving the environment. I have not yet got the opportunity
Yeah.
for the last 3 years after having done many pilot projects, all the
Yeah.
results.
Yeah.
Nobody was ready to
Yeah.
accept the results, but now they accept it.
Yeah.
And I believe very soon we'll get that breakthrough where we will get an opportunity to serve the environment. Imagine I started this journey at the age of 63.
Yeah.
Now I'm 68. I've just entered into 69th year of my life.
Yeah.
And I started this as a payback to the society.
Yeah.
Still, we are working. And our recent innovation that we did, You see, we were using only, say, 5% of the energy as compared to any other technology.
Right.
But now we have developed a process where you don't need energy, where we
Right.
are generating nanobubbles without electricity.
Hmm.
And the dimension is we've installed this system in Kanpur,
Yeah.
where we are treating 10 mld drain,
Yeah.
where we are generating nanobubbles without using electricity.
Hmm.
And since the nanobubble generator is open from both sides,
Yeah.
normally what happens is one side is tagged with a pump, which is
Yes.
pumping out.
Yes.
Since there is no pump there, so
Yeah.
the other side is also open.
Yes.
The whole impact of nanobubble generation there
Yes.
is affecting around 7.5 kilometers square.
Yeah.
And from 10 mld, it has impacted the 170 mld of the main channel.
Yeah.
So this is the latest innovation, and all these new developments that we get. Soon we'll be working on the two major projects. One is to see its impact on for the recircular economy we are talking about,
Yeah.
how infusion of oxygen into the treated water helps the agriculture.
Yeah.
Those that documentation will start from now onwards.
Yeah.
Another area we are focusing on is that it has been documented that 39% of the total methane emission
Yeah.
in the world is contributed by paddy cultivation.
Yes.
And that methane emission happens because paddy is normally cultivated in an anaerobic condition.
Yeah.
So, with the induction of nanobubbles in the irrigation channels, if we can, we have to, if we can grow rice in an aerobic condition,
Yes.
then the whole methane emission can be tackled with. That's another ambitious project that we are looking at.
Yeah.
So, and there's so much to do. Another major problem that we have identified is,
Yes.
uh, I think what has happened is the biggest culprit in the innovation domain, if I see it now, has been the innovation of the borewell system.
Yeah.
So what has happened is the water which we draw from the ground is wonderful, very
Yes.
clean, everything fine, but it had no DO. There is no oxygen
Yeah.
underground.
Yeah.
So what happened is this clean water, so extensively being used, it resulted into a situation where we stopped using our river waters. In Punjab, we have such a huge river network, river and canal network, but I don't think more than 30 to 40% farmers are actually using river water,
They're
and
pumping.
they have shifted to this
Pumping.
borewell.
Yes.
And all these years when we were using borewell, we never realized the significance of dissolved oxygen in borewell.
Yeah.
So that water which we thought was clean, we kept on pumping and we became more dependent upon the pesticides and fertilizer,
Yeah.
which created more demand for that for the
Yeah.
survival of our agriculture.
Yeah.
And that also can be reversed by us. We have developed a add-on to the clamp-on, we call it, with the
Yeah.
bore well. So
Yeah.
when the bore well water will flow through our nanobubble generator,
Yeah.
the oxygen will get purged in. So
Yeah.
those are the things which are there. And I believe if I survive for 100 years, still I will have some agenda on the table. So that's my nanobubble journey. I'm enjoying thoroughly every day.
Well, Jagjit, I should say that I rarely say I'm overwhelmed these days, but I'm overwhelmed. It is something so vital to India, so important. And
Yeah.
I talk to people who have done all kinds of things. I listen to them. But this is on a macro scale. It is a national scale issue. And
Yeah.
certainly, if you can clean up Kanpur, wow. That Kanpur is the source of all the problems of the Ganga. We know it. Everybody knows it. If you can clean up Kanpur, oxygen, then
Yes.
that is something that has not been it's the Ganga, Rajiv Gandhi started it, 1988, I remember. And it's not clean because the problems that you are talking about, you put chlorine now, that water is going into the river, you are killing the bloody river. What is the point of putting chlorine? You have treated the water, but the water is a killer. Now,
Yeah.
on this DO in the groundwater, this I did not know. So, as I say, it's rare for me to learn new things these days, but then I did not know that this groundwater doesn't have DO. Deep down,
Yes.
it doesn't have DO, and you are adding it, and that's what's going to irrigation. So, that is going to be very helpful. All right. Let us say that this is a great learning session for me and a great inspiration too. And I think it's enough. You've told us a lot, but if you want to, your achievement speaks for itself. So why should I comment? Okay, there's no point. So let
Thank you
me
so
ask you
much.
if you have some, I want to talk to you offline, but let me ask you if you have some final messages to young people, because, they do sometimes listen to this channel. So what messages do you have for young people?
Um, my message is stop looking for jobs. Look at the problems which society is facing,
Okay.
and they are all these problems are an opportunity, uh, commercially viable opportunities. Like in my case, uh, I'm addressing huge problem. I went to the government and said, stop spending so much of money to clean Ganga. I can directly clean Ganga without setting up STP plants.
Yes.
So, and that's a commercially viable project. I said, you are spending around 60,000 crores. Just give me 250 crores every year,
Yeah.
and the Ganga will be clean. So, which means that the problems of the society, which whether it is related to environment or any sector, there's so much to do. You pick up a problem, and then you will be able to find the commercial viability of investing your time. So, as an entrepreneur, um, you see, traditional trade competition, anybody can do.
Yes.
You can borrow money, you can invest money, you can invest in trade, you can invest in stocks. All those are traditional domains. But I think my message to the youth is uh, pick up the problem of the society. Universe will create an environment where the top of the brains will be aligned with you. Today, I have been supported in this journey by all the top scientists of the world.
Yes.
Yeah, and they were brought to connect with me by the universe
Yeah.
because they all saw what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So once you start taking steps in that direction,
Mm.
you don't look at your pocket whether there's a money or not. Money will be made available automatically. Universe will create environment for you. Of course, there will be difficulties. The way I faced it, I sold all my assets to invest on this, and since last 6 years, I have not taken a salary. So from the project, so I'm dependent upon my children for their for surviving myself. But I'm so excited
Yeah.
what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So keep that excitement on.
Yeah.
Be happy, and if I can do at the age of 65
Yeah.
and sustaining it till now, you have just begun your life.
Okay.
Be happy. Yeah,
Okay. All
that's
right. Thank you, Jagjit. Let's end it here. As I said, I do want to talk to you offline. And thank you
sure.
so much. It is so wonderful to hear such a success story. And certainly from a senior citizen like me, it is for us, it is still a sign that, look, we can still do something. We are still
Yeah,
not being overwhelmed by the new approaches, young people, technology. Yes, it's great to have them, but we can still make something and
yeah.
make it happen at the cutting edge. Okay, let's end it here and let's talk a little bit offline. Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.